So we have to understand first, right, what a high joy environment is versus what a low joy environment is, right? So high joy environment is going to be where the protector brain is the most dominant brain, right? And so that is going to create a safe environment for everyone, right? A joyful environment where weak people feel protected and secure versus one where people feel like they're in danger of being exploited by bullies, right? So a low joy environment is one where the predator brain is the brain that's the most dominant. Does that make sense? So that is a scary environment for everybody to be in because you never know what you're going to get, and you could be, harmed in that environment, et cetera, right? So that's we don't want to be in low joy environments. But a lot of times we don't know whether we're in a high joy or a low joy environment because it's confusing, and we're not maybe even thinking about it, right? We're not thinking, oh, this is just my church, or this is just my home, or this is just my neighbors or my school, and I know these people. We're not thinking, oh, somebody's trying to get me or whatever. Now, the next thing to understand in this concept is what a relational sandwich is. All right, a relational sandwich is when we are actually confronting somebody, right, in a caring way. But we're trying to help them see that something is going on with them that's maybe harmful for other people or harmful for us. But we do that in a way that their brain can handle it. Okay, so a relational sandwich involves, I tell you how important our relationship is to me, and then I tell you the thing that's upsetting to me about what's going on in the situation. So that's the confrontation. And then I put another piece of bread on the sandwich and telling you again how committed I am to our relationship and how important our relationship is to me. And so that type of approach in confrontation helps the other person's brain be able to take in the message. It's especially helpful when the person that we're dealing with is insecure or has a fear-based brain, whether they're acting predatory or possum. Okay? We're going to be reviewing these things a little bit more, but I'm just telling you them all today. Then there's a healthy shame message. The healthy shame versus toxic shame. That gets a little confusing because when we think about the word shame, we oftentimes think, oh, that's a bad word all the time. And it's not. Think about a little kid, right? Like if you've raised a child or you've babysat or been around a baby, a little toddler, they don't know not to go in the street. Right? And so when their parent or their babysitter or their helper says, no, don't go in the street, you'll get hit by a car, they cry and, oh, like I did something bad and I hurt, and now I feel ashamed. That's not a bad shame. That's healthy shame because it gives boundaries to the child, right? So healthy shame gives boundaries. It says you're not acting like the person who you truly are, or you're about to harm others, and that could be dangerous, right? So that's a healthy shame message. Shame is, all that shame is it's just a 1/6 of a second response to a stimulus. It's an emotional response that the brain has that says somebody's not glad to be with me. And if I am picking my nose in public and somebody says, that's gross, then I want to be able to have a healthy shame, like, oh, people aren't going to be glad to be with me if I'm grossing them out, right? Versus, well, I don't care. Don't look at me if you don't want that, right? Like some people can't take in healthy shame because they view all shame messages as toxic shame. Toxic shame is I'm a bad person. So if I say to you, because you're picking your nose in public, like, that's really gross, and you go, well, don't look at me then. Because if I allowed myself to take in that shame message, I would believe I'm a bad person. If you're not glad to be with me, then I must be a bad person. So healthy people can take healthy shame messages. We can take feedback. Unhealthy people take healthy shame messages and make them toxic in their mind. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like that way that you worded it.
Yeah.
That time, taking it and making it in your mind.
Yeah, it's like you flip it around. Like your brain doesn't know because you're so insecure in your own heart that you can't handle the healthy, you can't handle any type of shame. You don't metabolize it right. You don't digest it right. It digests as toxic even though it was meant to be healthy. So a few more definitions. One is stiff-necked pride. Okay, so what is stiff-necked pride? Stiff-necked pride, the word stiff-necked is used oftentimes in the scripture, right? A stiff-necked people means they don't bow their head. Well, you know what? Bowing is a healthy shame response, right? If I bow, my head goes down. Oh, you're not glad to be with me. The little kid that runs in the street. Oh, I'm so sorry I did something that you're not glad to be with me. Shame is like this. But stiff-necked people say, I don't care. I don't care what you think. Just don't look at me then. You don't tell me what to do. You know, I can't take in the response from somebody else that says, I've hurt them, right? They can't share pain with other people, right? And so stiff-necked pride is this arrogant pride that does not digest healthy shame. Now, is that confidence? Not at all. That is not confidence. That's a depth of insecurity and fear. Because I don't even have enough confidence to face my own behaviors. Does that make sense? So going on to understand a little bit more about stiff-necked pride, there's two types of stiff-necked pride. There's Peacock Pride and there's Skunk Pride. Okay? Peacock Pride is the kind of pride that points back to the other person as the problem. Like, oh, you don't want me to pick my nose in public because you have something wrong with you, right? You're just like that, right? And so they, instead of taking any responsibility myself, I put it right back on the other person and say, you're the problem, right? So that's peacock. You know how peacocks have the feathers that go out really beautiful, et cetera, and they parade around, right? Peacocks parade around, not paying attention to what anybody else needs and not digesting healthy shame. Then there's skunk pride. And the skunk pride does this. Now, just imagine if you know somebody that's done this, okay? Skunk pride says, I'm just a horrible person. You don't have to pay any attention to me then. I'm just a person that likes to pick my nose in public. And they just keep saying those things again and again and again to get somebody else to say, no, it's okay. No, I really do love you. No, there's nothing wrong with it. Go ahead and pick your nose. It's okay. Right? And so that's skunk pride. Here's the last one. This is the most important one. Hesed love. And you actually say it like hesed, right? Hesed, right? You use that hesed love, and that we describe as sticky love that never gives up. Even on the person who has his stiff-necked pride or peacock pride or skunk pride. If we have hesed love, we still want to be around those people, which they're really hard to be around, right? People that act like that. But people who have hesed love make people more important than problems, right? And they see people through their lens of their true identity, not their false identity. It's a pretty big deal. So here's our strategy, and then let's practice it. Stiff-necked pride plus enemy mode equals predator. All right? So if you have stiff-necked pride and you're in enemy mode, right? I'm going to get you. I'm your enemy. You're in an us and them mentality. Then you're going to be a predator. And there are 4 options for playing this kind of game. 1, you can play by the predator's rules, right? Because the predator is the most dominant brain in the room. if everybody just goes with that brain, then that's who's going to win, right? And then the predator has what they want and everybody else doesn't get what they want, but it's easier than confronting the predator because they usually throw a fit. Or you can play like the predator. And in that game, the best predator will always win, right? Or you can try to run from the predator. And that's the possum, right? The possum says, I can't win, so I'm just going to do whatever they want, but they will always get you, right? The predator will always get you. Or, this is what we're going to be practicing, we can change the rules with Hesed love. So, healthy shame, using relational sandwiches to produce high joy environment with gentle protector skills, being the dominant brain in the room, will create joyful belonging. So our goal as humans is to learn how to have gentle protector, Hesed love, so that we can use healthy shame messages with other people so that we can produce high joy environments where people actually change. And everybody belongs, even the people who are mean. Wouldn't that be awesome?